The Vorellan ascendant drifted through the dark ocean of space like a wounded beast. Once it had been the pride of the Galactic Union, 5 kilometers long with armor that shimmered like silver glass and engines that could outrun most warships. Now its hull was torn, its power core flickering and its crew tired and afraid. Captain Threx Vorellan, tall and covered in fine green scales, stood on the bridge with his arms folded. His eyes glowed faintly under the dim emergency lights. Behind him, the hum of broken machinery filled the silence. Every now and then, the sound of distant sparks echoed through the corridors. "Status report," Threx ordered. His voice calm but heavy. His first officer, Rella, checked her console with shaking hands. "Our primary shields are gone. Engines are at 12%. Life support is stable, but barely. We lost 63 crew during the pirate ambush, Captain." Threx's jaw tightened. The pirates had come out of nowhere near the edge of the Vassal Nebula. They were ruthless, fast and armed with weapons that should have been impossible for raiders to own. Only by using the last of their power reserves had the Ascendant escaped, barely jumping through hyperspace before collapsing into normal space again. And now, they were stranded. Threx turned to the navigation officer. "Where are we?" The officer hesitated. "Unknown system, Captain." "Wait, identifying now. Local star, Sol third planet Earth." The name meant almost nothing to Threx. He frowned. "Earth, that's an undeveloped world, isn't it? Primitive species. No faster than light drive." "Yes, sir," Rella confirmed. "But its records show strange updates. The planet's isolation status was removed 2 cycles ago. Apparently they joined no alliance but began independent development." Threx grunted. "Irrelevant. We need repairs, not rumors." Still, his mind turned the name over. Earth. Humans. He had read of them. Minor species, unpredictable, and oddly emotional. Their technology was supposed to be simple but clever. Desperate times, however, left no choice. "Set course for Earth orbit," he ordered. "If they can't help us, we'll hide in their shadow until our systems recharge." The bridge crew obeyed. The Ascendant limped toward the small blue planet ahead. As it grew larger in the viewing window, the crew couldn't help but admire its strange beauty. White clouds swirling above green continents and deep oceans. Rella whispered, "It looks live." Threx didn't answer. He was too busy wondering if approaching this world would save them or doom them. As they neared orbit, sensors began to pick up signals. Not random radio waves, but structured transmissions. Threx's eyes narrowed. "Are they trying to hail us?" "Yes, Captain," said the comm officer. "Multiple frequencies. Automated defense warnings." Before they could respond, the ship's speakers came alive with a clear, calm voice. "Unidentified vessel, you are entering Terran repair jurisdiction. Please hold position and transmit your ship ID. Help is on the way." The bridge fell silent. Rella blinked. "Help? Did they just say help?" Threx leaned forward, suspicious. "Translate again." "Maybe they mean surrender." "No, sir. The message is genuine. They're offering assistance." Threx stared at the glowing planet below. "Interesting. Very well. Transmit our ID. Let's see what these Terrans consider help." Minutes passed. Then out of hyperspace, 3 human ships appeared. They weren't what Threx expected. He had imagined clunky metal boxes. Instead, these ships were sleek and angular, built with precise symmetry. Their hulls reflected sunlight like mirrors, and their drives glowed with a soft blue flame. "Energy readings?" Threx asked sharply. Rella's eyes widened. "Captain, they're matching our power output." "No, exceeding it." Threx felt a flicker of unease. A developing species wasn't supposed to build ships like these. One of the human ships approached slowly. A transmission came through and a woman's face appeared on the main screen. Dark hair tied back, eyes sharp and intelligent. She wore a navy blue uniform with a silver emblem of a rising sun. "Greetings, alien vessel. This is Commander Elena Ruiz of Earth's Orbital Defense and Engineering Command. You seem to be in rough shape. Do you require assistance?" For a moment, Threx didn't speak. He wasn't used to aliens addressing him as an equal. "Yes," he finally said. "We were attacked by pirates. Our engines are crippled. We require repairs." Ruiz smiled faintly. "Understood. We'll guide you to Sol Forge Station. It's our main orbital repair dock. Don't worry, we've handled worse." "Handled worse?" Threx wondered. How could a planet that was supposed to be primitive handle worse? Still, he nodded. "Permission granted." The Ascendant followed the human escort to Sol Forge Station. When it came into view, even Threx's scales tingled in shock. The station was enormous, bigger than any orbital facility he'd seen. Hundreds of maintenance drones swarmed around it like glowing insects. Docking arms extended toward them, each one perfectly calibrated. Primitive world, Rella whispered. They call this primitive? Docking completed with flawless precision. As the airlock sealed, human engineers entered, wearing white suits with bright blue stripes. They greeted the alien crew with friendly waves and professional calm. One of them even offered Threx a steaming cup of something. Coffee, said the human cheerfully. Trust me, you'll need it. Threx looked at the brown liquid, sniffed, and hesitated. Is it toxic? The human laughed. Only if you drink 5 liters at once. Threx took a careful sip, warm, bitter, strong. Something in it sparked through his system like controlled lightning. He blinked in surprise. Not bad, he admitted. The human grinned. Told you. As the repairs began, Threx toured the station under Commander Ruiz's supervision. He expected confusion, maybe fear. Instead, he found organized teams who understood exactly what they were doing. Human engineers moved quickly, replacing damaged circuits with new ones that looked simpler, but performed far better. When Threx asked how, Ruiz just smiled. We've learned a few tricks since joining the galaxy. You'd be amazed what humans can do when we get bored. He watched as her people installed new shielding matrices, fusion relays, and sensor modules, all done in hours instead of days. The efficiency was staggering. Your technology, Threx said slowly, is compatible with ours. That shouldn't be possible. Ruiz shrugged. We like to study what others throw away. Reverse engineering is a hobby. Threx stared at her, unsure if she was joking. Humans, it seemed, had a strange way of speaking. Later, in the mess hall of the station, human and alien crews sat together. Laughter filled the air. Someone played music, soft, rhythmic, and oddly soothing. Threx sat alone for a while, sipping his 3rd cup of coffee. He hated to admit it, but the drink was addictive. Rella joined him. Captain, the humans are incredible. They've already replaced the entire aft shielding grid. Their scientists understand plasma engineering better than some of our own. Threx frowned. They shouldn't be this advanced. Either our records are wrong, or they've been hiding something. He looked out through the transparent wall of the mess hall. Beyond, he could see Earth, bright and blue, spinning slowly below them. And orbiting above it, a fleet of ships, far more than he had noticed before. Warships. Silent. Waiting. Hours later, in private, Threx spoke with Ruiz again. Commander, he said carefully, your fleet, are you preparing for war? Ruiz smiled politely. No, Captain. We're preparing for peace, but peace doesn't last long if you can't defend it. Her tone was calm, but her eyes told a different story. Threx sensed the quiet confidence of a predator that didn't need to roar. Your people are different, he admitted. Different? She chuckled. We're just human, Captain. We build, we fix, we fight when we must, and we drink coffee through it all. Threx didn't know whether to laugh or be concerned. He decided on both. That night cycle, as the Ascendant's hull gleamed with new alloys and humming power lines, Threx stood by the viewport, deep in thought. He had come here expecting to find a primitive planet with little to offer. Instead, he had found a world full of clever minds, strong hearts, and quiet power. Humans were not what the galaxy believed them to be. Rella approached. Captain, systems are stable. They've even improved our engine core. I think we'll be ready to leave in 2 cycles. Threx nodded slowly. Good. But something tells me our stay here is far from over. Below them, the blue world shone like a jewel in the darkness. And out there, somewhere in the void, the same pirates who had nearly destroyed them were still hunting. If they followed the Ascendant's trail, Threx's eyes narrowed. Maybe then, the galaxy would finally see what these humans were truly capable of. The Varellan Ascendant floated like a sleeping giant beside Soulforge Station, the largest human facility in orbit around Earth. To Captain Threx, it still felt strange seeing humans move across his warship like they belonged there. They walked confidently through corridors that had once only echoed with Vorellan footsteps. Everywhere he looked, human engineers were working, fast, precise, and talkative. All right, folks, plasma conduits are fried, said a short man with messy brown hair and a glowing tool in his hand. We'll reroute power using these Terran-grade relays. His Varellan assistant blinked in confusion. Those look too small. They can't handle that much energy. The man grinned. You'll be surprised what humans can make work. We like building things that look wrong but work right. Captain Threx watched the process with mixed emotions. He didn't like outsiders touching his ship, but there was no denying their skill. The humans didn't just repair, they improved. Human Commander Elena Ruiz walked beside him as they moved through the engineering deck. Her black uniform gleamed with silver lines and her hands were clasped behind her back like a seasoned officer. We replaced your primary reactor casing with a reinforced titanium shell, she explained. It'll double your efficiency and reduce energy loss by 20%, Threx frowned. That design isn't in our Union archives. Where did you learn this? Ruiz gave a small knowing smile. We didn't learn it. We built it. Humans like to experiment. He didn't know whether to be impressed or concerned. You experiment on military reactors? Ruiz chuckled softly. We experiment on everything. In the mess hall, the human and Varellan crews continued to interact. The air was filled with laughter, noise, and the smell of food. The humans had shared something called pizza, which most Varellans found oddly delightful. At one table, a young human engineer proudly handed a cup to a Varellan technician. Try this, coffee with sugar and milk. Sweet and strong. The Varellan sipped and blinked rapidly. It's like liquid energy. Exactly. The engineer grinned. That's how we survive 20-hour shifts. Even Threx had grown used to the strange human drink. He found himself craving it during long meetings. Perhaps it was the caffeine, or perhaps it was the strange warmth it carried, a human comfort he couldn't quite describe. But more than their coffee, what impressed Threx most was their efficiency. Within just 2 days, humans had repaired damage that would have taken a Union shipyard 2 months. New shield generators now pulsed quietly under the hull. The main drive hummed with renewed strength, and humans didn't just stop there, they offered upgrades. When the chief human engineer, a tall woman named Dr. Linda Patel, presented her final report, Threx nearly dropped his cup. We replaced your shield array with a modular energy distribution grid, she said. It adapts automatically to weapon impact frequencies. Threx frowned. You mean it adjusts in battle? She nodded. Exactly. Think of it as a living shield it learns. Impossible, he muttered. Ruiz crossed her arms, smiling faintly. Captain, humans have been told impossible for centuries. We usually take it as a challenge. Later, Threx and Ruiz stood together at a viewing platform overlooking Earth. The planet glowed with soft blue light below, and its moon hung silently nearby. Dozens of Terran ships orbited in perfect formation, sleek, uniform, efficient. Threx spoke quietly. I must admit, Commander, your people are remarkable. You've advanced far beyond what the Union records say. Ruiz smiled. We prefer it that way. Keeps the galaxy from asking too many questions. He turned to her. You hide your strength deliberately? She shrugged. Let's just say humanity doesn't like unnecessary attention. We've had enough wars on our own world. We learned to be quiet, patient, and very, very prepared. Threx studied her for a moment. And yet you offer us help freely. Why? Her gaze turned toward the stars. Because we remember what it's like to be desperate and alone in space. And because someday we might need help too. That honesty surprised him. Most galactic powers only helped others for political gain or trade. But these humans, they helped because they wanted to. Still, something in Ruiz's tone bothered him. You speak as if you expect trouble. Her voice lowered slightly. Captain, the galaxy isn't as quiet as people pretend. We've seen raider signatures near our trade routes for months. If the ones who attacked you followed your trail here, they might already be on their way. Threx's scales stiffened. If that's true, then you must evacuate this station immediately. Their fleet will... Ruiz raised a hand, calm and confident. Relax, Captain. We have defenses. We'll handle it. Her words carried a tone that left no room for argument. Back on the Ascendant, the alien crew had grown strangely fond of the humans. The once silent corridors now echoed with mixed chatter, laughter, and the sound of music from human devices. A group of Varellan soldiers had even joined humans in a workout session, though they quickly learned that humans took physical training very seriously. Do they ever stop running? One Varellan gasped as a human jogged past, still sipping coffee. Not when caffeine exists, the human replied with a grin. As repairs neared completion, Threx called a meeting of his senior officers. Rayla, his first officer, looked both relieved and worried. "They've improved our systems beyond expectations, Captain," she reported. "But they were detecting something strange." "What is it?" She hesitated. "Earth's orbital grid. They've been shifting ships for the last 12 hours. At first we thought it was routine movement, but now they're forming tactical patterns, defensive ones." Threx frowned. "You're certain?" "Yes, they're preparing for something." The captain's chest grew heavy. Commander Ruiz mentioned possible pirate activity. "Perhaps they've already detected them." Rella looked nervous. "Captain, what if we brought danger here? What if our pursuers followed our trail?" Threx turned toward the viewing screen where Earth glowed peacefully below. "Then, Lieutenant, we may have just led war to humanity's doorstep." Hours later, Ruiz entered the Ascendant's bridge. Her usually calm face carried a trace of tension. "Captain Threx, our long-range sensors picked up something. Multiple hyperspace signatures. Large fleet vectoring straight for Sol." Threx's heart sank. "Pirates. It has to be them," Ruiz nodded. "That's our guess, too. Estimated arrival, 18 hours. Threx looked around his bridge. His crew stood silent, the hum of engines filling the air. "We'll fight beside you, Commander. The Ascendant may be damaged, but we still have weapons." Ruiz smiled, a confident gleam in her eyes. "That's generous, Captain, but unnecessary. You've done enough bleeding already. This is our system. We'll handle the defense." Threx shook his head. "You can't fight them alone. Their numbers are overwhelming." "We've seen overwhelming before," Ruiz said quietly, "and we built for it." Her words sent a chill down Threx's spine. For the rest of the day, the humans worked like a storm. Solforge Station turned into a fortress. Thousands of automated drones flew from hangars, each one armed and ready. Massive railguns rotated toward deep space. Energy shields began to hum around Earth's orbit. Threx watched in silent awe. The humans weren't panicking. They were preparing. In the control center, Ruiz stood before a massive holographic map, giving orders with calm authority. "Activate Orbital Layer 7. Get Fleet Group Theta into defensive alignment. Notify the Mars outpost. Yes, we'll need their support fleet." A young human officer called out, "Ma'am, what about the civilian stations?" "They're already shielded. Focus on firing arcs. The pirates will be here soon, and we'll give them the welcome they deserve." Meanwhile, Threx returned to his ship. His crew gathered around him anxiously. Rella whispered, "Captain, these humans, they act like this is nothing." Threx's expression softened. "They're not reckless. They're ready. They've been ready for a long time." He looked through the viewport again, watching Earth's fleet align into perfect formation, rows upon rows of steel and light. He realized something that made his scales prickle. These weren't the actions of a developing world. These were the actions of a power, one that had simply chosen not to show its claws until now. As the hours passed, Threx stood quietly beside Commander Ruiz in the command center. The tension in the room was heavy, but no one was afraid. Humans moved with focus, discipline, and quiet determination. He finally spoke. "Why do you face danger so calmly?" Ruiz didn't look away from the holographic display. "Because fear wastes time, and time saves lives." Then she took a long sip from her cup. "Also, coffee helps." Threx stared at her, speechless. Humans truly were a strange species. When the alarm finally blared, no one panicked. A communications officer turned to Ruiz. "Confirmed hostile fleet emerging from hyperspace." "Hundreds of ships," Ruiz smiled thinly. "Excellent. Let's see what they think of Earth's hospitality." She turned to Threx. "Captain, you might want to take a seat. First contact with humans in battle tends to surprise people." He hesitated. "How bad will it be?" Ruiz looked out the viewport where the first streaks of enemy ships began to appear. "Bad? Not for us." The warning sirens echoed through Solforge Station like a deep heartbeat. Red lights flashed across the control center. Every human and Varellan officer froze for a single moment, then moved with sharp precision. Captain Threx stood beside Commander Elena Ruiz, watching the holographic display bloom with red dots. Each dot represented a hostile ship. There were hundreds. The pirates had arrived. "Confirm enemy count," Ruiz ordered calmly. 342 vessels, ma'am," the sensor officer replied. "Composition: heavy raiders, assault frigates, and at least 5 dreadnoughts." Rella, Threx's first officer, hissed softly. "That's the same fleet that attacked us." Threx's jaw tightened. They followed our trail through hyperspace. He turned to Ruiz. Commander, I am deeply sorry. We have brought danger to your world. Ruiz didn't even flinch. Don't apologize, Captain. You just brought us a chance to test some new systems. Her tone was so casual that Threx blinked. Test systems. You intend to fight them? She smiled slightly. Of course. Earth doesn't run from bullies. Outside, the dark void of space began to shimmer. One by one, pirate ships exited hyperspace, their engines leaving trails of blue fire. They spread into attack formation, hungry for plunder. The pirate flagship, a monstrous vessel painted in black and crimson, sent a transmission across the system. Unidentified Terran forces. You are harboring our prey. Surrender the alien vessel and we will spare your world. The entire control room went silent. Then Ruiz laughed softly and pressed a button. Pirate Fleet, this is Commander Elena Ruiz of Earth Defense Command. You are trespassing in Terran space. Turn around immediately or we'll assume you wish to test our hospitality. A pause followed. Then the pirate voice replied, amused. Hospitality? You'll offer us dinner, little human? Ruiz grinned. Something like that. The pirate fleet began to advance, engines burning bright. The sky above Earth filled with enemy ships. But humans didn't panic. Every motion inside Sulford Station was practiced, rehearsed. Ruiz pointed to the hologram. Activate defense grid. All orbital cannons online. Defense grid active, an officer confirmed. 12 railgun platforms, 6 laser arrays, and 20 drone wings armed and ready. Ruiz nodded. Good. Let's show our guests what coffee-powered engineers can build. Threx watched, half in awe, half in disbelief. He had fought battles before. Large ones, terrible ones, but he had never seen an army move with such silent confidence. The humans didn't shout or rush. They worked like clockwork. Every command Ruiz gave was short, clear, and precise. The Earth Defense Fleet began to form a wall between the planet and the invaders. Dozens of sleek Terran warships glowed under sunlight. Gray hulls polished, railguns extended, shields shimmering faintly. At the heart of the formation floated the flagship TSS Endeavor, its engines burning like twin suns. From his viewing window, Threx saw the pirates open fire first. Hundreds of plasma blasts streaked through space, lighting up the darkness with streaks of green and red. The sight was both beautiful and terrifying. Shields up, Ruiz commanded. Earth's fleet shimmered as energy barriers came online. The first barrage hit the Terran shields and scattered harmlessly like rain on glass. Minimal damage, an officer reported. Ruiz nodded calmly. Return fire. The response was immediate. Earth's orbital railguns roared. Silent flashes of white light tearing through space at near relativistic speed. The slugs were small, but they struck with the force of asteroids. The first pirate ship exploded instantly. The second lost its engines. The third was sliced clean in half. Threx's eyes widened. Those are kinetic weapons, not energy blasts. How do they hit with such accuracy at that range? Ruiz didn't look away from the screen. Math, Captain. Lots of math and caffeine. The human officers grinned. The joke eased tension, but the destruction continued. The pirates realized too late that they had underestimated their opponent. They began to scatter, trying to flank the Terran fleet. But Earth's ships were ready. From behind the defensive line, drones launched. Hundreds of small, swift machines shaped like metal hawks. They flew in perfect formation, weaving between the Terran ships before, diving straight into the enemy lines. Autonomous Talon units. Deployed, an officer announced. The holographic map showed swarms of blue dots tearing through the red ones. Each drone fired precision lasers and micro-missiles, targeting weak points in enemy hulls. Explosions dotted the black sky. Threx couldn't stay silent. This is impossible. You're outnumbered almost 5-1 and yet you're winning. Ruiz gave him a sideways glance. Numbers don't win wars, Captain. Preparation does. She pressed another control key. Fleet Command switched to Formation Echo 9. Bring the Endeavor forward. We'll cut their line. On the screen, the human flagship surged ahead. Its hull glowed with blue energy as its forward guns powered up. Main cannon online, said the weapons officer. Ruiz's eyes narrowed. Fire. A single beam of light erupted from the Endeavor's front cannon, a bright lance of energy that crossed space in seconds. The beam pierced straight through the pirate dreadnought, slicing it open from bow to stern. The explosion lit up the entire battlefield. Even the Vorellan crew aboard the Ascendant gasped. They had seen plasma cannons and ion storms before, but this was different. The humans had mixed technology that shouldn't even exist together. Kinetic, plasma, rail, laser, all in perfect harmony. On the Ascendant's bridge, Rella whispered, "Captain, the humans are monsters." Threx shook his head slowly. "No, they are warriors." The battle raged for hours. The pirate fleet fought desperately, but the humans pressed their advantage. Every time the pirates tried a new tactic, Earth's fleet adapted instantly. When the pirates launched missile swarms, human drones intercepted them mid-flight. When they tried to warp behind the fleet, orbital cannons from the moon's defense grid opened fire, cutting them off. It was a dance of precision and discipline. Threx watched, unable to look away. The calm voices, the focused movements, the teamwork, it all reminded him of something ancient and powerful. Humanity wasn't fighting for glory. They were fighting because they refused to lose. After several hours, the pirate flagship tried to flee. It began charging its jump engines. "Target the flagship," Ruiz ordered. "Let's make sure they remember this lesson." The Endeavor's railguns turned toward the fleeing ship. A single volley struck its engines, crippling it instantly. The pirate captain's desperate voice came through the comms. "We surrender. Please cease fire." Ruiz stared at the display for a long moment, then nodded. "Hold fire. Dispatch boarding teams. Bring them in alive if possible." She turned to Threx. "We're not executioners. Even raiders deserve a trial." Threx was stunned. "You show mercy to those who would have destroyed you?" Ruiz shrugged. "Mercy doesn't make us weak, Captain. It reminds us why we fight." By the time the battle ended, only a handful of pirate ships remained operational. Most were disabled, drifting like broken toys in orbit. Cheers erupted across the command center. Humans clapped shoulders, hugged, and laughed. Some even raised mugs of coffee in victory. Threx couldn't help but smile faintly. "You make war look easy," he said. Ruiz laughed. "Trust me, Captain, nothing about it is easy. But we've learned to make it efficient." Hours later, the wreckage of the pirate fleet floated silently over Earth's orbit. Recovery ships moved among the debris, collecting survivors and salvage. Threx stood with Ruiz at the observation deck again, looking down at the glowing blue planet. "You saved us all," he said quietly. "You saved my ship, my crew, and possibly the Union." Ruiz sipped her coffee and gave a small nod. "We did what anyone should do, help those in trouble. But it's good to know our upgrades work." Threx chuckled softly. "You humans have a strange habit of smiling after a war." "Because we're still alive," Ruiz replied. "And because tomorrow we'll have to fix everything we broke today." Her calmness impressed him more than the victory itself. Later, back on the Ascendant, Threx gathered his crew. The humans had sent over more supplies and energy cells. His engineers were still studying the upgrades Earth had installed. "Captain," Rella said, "our systems are performing better than ever. Their modifications increased power output by 30%. Threx nodded slowly. "Yes, and they did it in 2 days. Imagine what they could do in a year." He turned to the viewport once more. Dozens of Terran warships patrolled space around the planet. They looked like a sleeping army, calm now but ready to awaken if threatened again. A thought crossed his mind. The galaxy has no idea what Earth truly is. On the final day before departure, Ruiz visited the Ascendant one last time. "Captain Threx," she said, shaking his clawed hand, "your ship is fully repaired. We also left a few gifts, software updates, shield protocols, and of course coffee beans." Threx smiled. "I'll treasure them all." Ruiz laughed. "Good. If the Union asks how you survived, just tell them you found help on a small blue planet full of stubborn engineers." Threx bowed slightly. "And if they ask who saved us?" Ruiz's eyes sparkled. "Tell them humans did, and that we're open for business." As the Varellan Ascendant pulled away from Earth's orbit, Threx looked one last time at the beautiful blue sphere below. He had come to this world broken and desperate. He was leaving stronger, wiser, and carrying a story that would shake the entire galaxy. For the first time in centuries, Captain Threx smiled without fear. "They offered us repairs," he whispered, "and gave us power." The Varellan Ascendant sailed through the dark void of space, engines humming with new power. Captain Threx had never felt his ship move so smoothly. The modifications the humans had made weren't just repairs. They were upgrades beyond anything the Union had achieved. Yet, as he glanced around the bridge, he couldn't ignore the uneasy feeling in his chest. The galaxy was still dangerous. Pirates might retreat, but they rarely forgot. Beside him, First Officer Rella studied the latest sensor scans. "Captain, all remaining pirates are retreating, but our signature is still active. They will tell their allies where we came from." Threx's green scales tightened in thought. "Then we've given the galaxy a story they will not forget." The Ascendant left Earth orbit slowly, moving towards safer jump coordinates. As they exited, Threx reached for his communication console and opened a secure channel to the Varellan Union High Command. "High Command, this is Captain Threx. I report the status of the Ascendant. Repairs and upgrades are complete, courtesy of an external source. I recommend a full report upon return." A static-filled voice replied, skeptical. "Captain, you report assistance from a primitive world. Are you joking?" Threx's jaw tightened. "No joke. Their engineering is unmatched. Their fleet is capable of defending an entire system against overwhelming forces. I urge caution. Contact with Earth may alter our understanding of the galaxy's balance." The line went silent. Threx knew the command would question him for cycles, but the truth couldn't be denied. Hours later, Threx convened a full briefing with his senior officers. The humans' upgrades had changed everything. "Their shield systems are adaptive," Rella explained, pointing at a holographic display. "Weapons that normally pierce armor barely scratch the hull. Their engines exceed our top speed for a vessel of this size. And their drones, hundreds all autonomous, precise in attack patterns, destroyed the pirate fleet with minimal losses." Threx rubbed his scales thoughtfully. "We underestimated this species. The galaxy sees humans as small, fragile, yet they are anything but. We have only glimpsed their true capability." Rella shivered. "Captain, if other civilizations realize what they've built, wars could start over them." Threx nodded. "Exactly. That is why we must tread carefully." Meanwhile, back on Earth, Commander Elena Ruiz reviewed battle logs. Human ships patrolled orbit, scanning for any lingering threats. Engineers repaired damaged drones and readied new weapon systems. "Report," she ordered. "Remaining pirate ships have been captured or destroyed. No Earth casualties. All systems are fully operational," her officer replied. Ruiz sipped coffee and smiled faintly. "Good, let's make sure it stays that way. Prepare for all eventualities. I want drills for fleet engagement every hour for the next cycle." Another officer frowned. "Ma'am, the war is over. Shouldn't the crew rest?" Ruiz shook her head. "Rest is for those who don't want to survive the next battle. We prepare now so we never fear later." The calm certainty in her voice was unsettling and inspiring. Back on the Ascendant, the Varellan crew marveled at the human technology they had experienced. "They think in ways we never imagined," said an engineering officer, inspecting the adaptive shield core. "These modifications, they predict attacks before they happen," Threx nodded, "and they don't need constant supervision. Their systems are self-learning. Humans combine intellect, instinct, and willpower like no other species." Rila's eyes widened. "They even drank coffee while fighting a fleet. They don't slow down under pressure, they thrive on it." Threx exhaled slowly. "We have encountered a species capable of shaping war itself. The galaxy will not ignore this for long." A week later, the Ascendant arrived at a neutral jump point near the Varellan Union's central hub. Threx prepared a formal report to the High Command, detailing the encounter with Earth. "The humans of Earth are capable of defending their system against hundreds of enemy vessels with minimal losses. Their fleet coordination, adaptive technology, and autonomous combat units surpass known limits. They are a strategic force not yet recognized by galactic powers. Recommend observation, diplomatic engagement, and caution." As he sent the report, Threx felt a mix of pride and worry. Humans had helped him, but now the galaxy would begin to notice them. True to his concern, the ripple of information spread quickly. Within hours, communications channels buzzed with speculation. Merchant fleets in nearby systems debated whether Earth's strength was real. Pirate networks whispered fearfully of humans who fought without hesitation. The Varellan Union itself began reviewing its intelligence. Threx's report made many officers uneasy. They had long considered Earth insignificant. For the first time in centuries, a single planet could shift galactic strategy without firing a single shot, except they already had. Meanwhile, on Earth, Commander Ruiz held a fleet council. Humans have always been underestimated, she said. But now the galaxy knows our existence. We must prepare for all reactions, curious, aggressive, or hostile. Our advantage is surprise. Let's keep it that way. Her officers nodded. We'll reinforce systems around Mars, the Moon, and Lagrange points. Expand the Talon drone network. Begin preliminary alliances with friendly alien contacts. The galaxy will test us eventually. Ruiz smiled faintly. Let them try. We'll be ready. Back on the Ascendant, Threx's crew was studying the upgrades more closely. The adaptive shields, said the chief engineer, react to incoming energy before it reaches the hull. Even our top weapons are partially absorbed or deflected. Threx's claws tapped on the console. And the drones, they operate independently yet in perfect coordination. They anticipate tactics and counter them instinctively. Rella leaned in. Captain, if other Union fleets saw this technology, they might attempt to replicate it. Or attack Earth preemptively. Threx nodded slowly. That is why we must be careful. Humans are not just allies, they are a force the galaxy is not ready to challenge. We have witnessed the awakening of a predator disguised as a small blue world. At the same time, pirate factions across space were scrambling. They had expected easy prey, a helpless Union vessel drifting into unknown territory. Instead, they were obliterated by humans who seemed impossible to beat. Survivors whispered of railguns cutting through their dreadnoughts and drones swarming like a perfect storm. Fear spread. A single tale of humans in battle now traveled faster than any pirate ship could flee. Threx realized the truth. Humanity's strength was not just in technology. It was in discipline, intelligence, courage, and unity. He had seen it firsthand. Humans did not panic, did not hesitate, and did not fear overwhelming odds. Even when surrounded, they planned, acted, and executed with terrifying efficiency. Captain, Rella said quietly, we should warn the Union. They don't understand what just happened. Threx closed his eyes. We will, but cautiously. The galaxy is not ready for Earth. Let's hope it remains our secret a little longer. Back on Earth, Ruiz reflected on the battle. She walked through the station, sipping coffee, observing engineers fixing minor damages. Captain, a junior officer asked, do you think the galaxy will ever see us as anything but a small, weak planet? Ruiz smiled. Not for long. But they will learn. And when they do, they'll realize why we never wanted war but were always ready for it. She looked toward space. Ships patrolled the void quietly like silent guardians. The humans had proven themselves. But the galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and dangerous. Let them come, she whispered. We'll be ready. Meanwhile, Threx reflected in the observation deck of the Ascendant. Earth was a small dot now, glowing peacefully in the distance. He had come here broken, desperate, and unsure. He was leaving with his ship fully repaired, his crew alive, and a deep respect for a species he had thought was primitive. Humans had not only saved them, they had changed everything. They offered coffee and repairs, he whispered, and gave us a lesson in power. For the first time, he understood why some species should not be underestimated. The Varellan Ascendant sailed quietly through hyperspace. Captain Threx watched the stars streak past the viewports, reflecting on the past days. His ship had been repaired, upgraded, and strengthened beyond recognition. But more than that, he carried a new understanding of a species the galaxy had long underestimated: humans. Beside him, First Officer Rella worked silently at the navigation console. Even she had moments of awe. They're not just strong, she said quietly. They are terrifying in their precision, Threx nodded. Not terrifying, prepared. Humans are the first species I've met that does not waste time in fear. They do not panic. They do not retreat. They only act. Rayla's gaze drifted toward the blue dot that was Earth. Do you think the galaxy will ever understand what they are? Threx was silent. He didn't know. And perhaps that was the point. Meanwhile, Earth continued its quiet, disciplined preparations. Commander Elena Ruiz oversaw fleet drills with unwavering focus. Her engineers and officers moved with efficiency, as if the battle against the pirates had been nothing more than a test. Prepare jump coordinates, she ordered. We will make routine patrols through the outer systems. If anyone dares test us again, they will see what it means to cross Earth. Her second-in-command, a tall man named Lieutenant Harris, raised an eyebrow. Ma'am, don't you think this will attract attention? Other civilizations may grow wary. Ruiz shook her head. Let them notice. We've been underestimated for too long. The galaxy needs to learn that we do not fight recklessly, but we do fight efficiently. Harris nodded slowly. And they'll see that we fight with intelligence, Ruiz smiled faintly. Exactly. That and coffee. Back on the Ascendant, Threx called a full crew meeting. The Varellans gathered in the main hall, their expressions a mix of wonder and disbelief. We have seen a species unlike any other, Threx began, voice resonant. They fought not with rage, but with preparation. They think faster, move faster, and adapt faster than any I have known. Their ships, their drones, their weapons, they are all extensions of their will. And their will is strong. Rella stepped forward. Captain, their power. It is unmatched. They have proven they can destroy fleets 10 times their size. Threx's gaze swept the room. Yes, and yet they are not cruel. They do not fight for conquest. They fight to protect, to defend, and to survive. That is the most dangerous combination in the galaxy. Strength coupled with intelligence and restraint. The crew murmured in agreement. Threx could see the mixture of awe and fear in their eyes. Several cycles later, the Ascendant arrived at Varellan Union space. The Union's high command was already in session. Threx presented his report, detailing every event with precision. The humans of Earth are capable of defending an entire system with minimal losses. Their fleet, technology, and coordination exceed current Union understanding. I recommend observing them and, if possible, establishing a diplomatic relationship. Any miscalculation regarding this species could be catastrophic. The high command officers leaned forward, some skeptical, some incredulous. Captain Threx, said one officer, you claim that a primitive species repelled a fleet. Explain why this is not exaggeration. Threx placed a clawed hand on the console. I do not exaggerate. I have seen their technology, their strategy, and their courage. The Union must prepare not to underestimate Earth or we risk disaster. The chamber fell silent. Some officers whispered among themselves. Others looked uneasy. We will review your report, another said carefully. But these claims are extraordinary. Threx nodded, inwardly knowing the galaxy was about to wake to a new reality. Meanwhile, humans continued quietly improving themselves. Commander Ruiz had begun sending smaller fleets to scout nearby systems. Their drones tested new formations, their ships practiced faster maneuvers, and scientists worked on additional upgrades. Yet humans remained calm, never boasting. They did not seek conflict. They simply prepared, knowing that one day the galaxy might force their hand again. 1 week later, Threx returned to Earth for a second visit. This time not because of damage, but because of curiosity. Captain Threx, Commander Ruiz greeted him. You return faster than most. To see us again or to report your astonishment? Threx's lips curled into a small smile. Both, Commander. I need to understand your methods. My crew and I have learned much from your upgrades, but your full capability, I have not yet seen. Ruiz gestured toward the observation deck. Below, Earth spun silently in the void. Then see carefully, Captain. The galaxy often forgets that strength comes in many forms. Let us give you a proper demonstration. In the outer orbital zones, humans initiated maneuvers that seemed almost like choreography. Hundreds of ships moved in perfect unison, shifting formations seamlessly as if guided by a single mind. Drones launched in swarms, creating patterns that allowed maximum firepower while minimizing exposure. Threx's jaw dropped. This is beyond coordination. This is artistry. Strategy and math, Ruiz said with a smile. And coffee, even Threx had to laugh. Humans had a strange habit of joking during moments that would terrify other species. As the demonstration ended, Ruiz turned to Threx. Captain, Earth does not seek to dominate, but we also do not fear defending ourselves. You have seen what we can do with a fleet and determination. Imagine what we might accomplish when joined by allies who respect strength and intelligence. Threx considered her words carefully. He had spent decades navigating a galaxy of politics, wars, and alliances. Humans had achieved more than most species did in centuries, and yet they remained humble, restrained, and precise. Commander, he said slowly, if the Union recognizes your capabilities, it will change everything. Every fleet, every alliance, every strategy will be reconsidered. You may become the most influential species in the galaxy before anyone even realizes it. Ruiz simply smiled. Then we will do as we always do. Prepare, observe, and act only when necessary. We do not seek war, but the galaxy will know our name if they test us. The Ascendant prepared to depart once more. Threx had learned all he could, yet he knew that humanity's story was only beginning. Before leaving, Ruiz handed him a small package. "Captain, a gift. Consider it a token of friendship and a reminder of what humans can offer." Threx opened it carefully. Inside were schematics for new energy shields, drone control protocols, and a supply of Earth's famous coffee beans. "We drink it ourselves, but it helps keep allies awake," Ruiz joked. Threx chuckled, shaking his head. "You are a remarkable species, Commander. I will take this back to the Union, though I suspect they will not believe me." "Let them doubt," Ruiz replied. "Actions speak louder than words." As the Ascendant left Earth orbit, Threx looked down one last time. The blue planet spun quietly, peaceful yet filled with potential. He knew the galaxy would eventually discover what he already had. Humanity was not weak, nor simple, nor primitive. They were cunning, powerful, and prepared for anything. "They offered us repairs," he whispered to Rella, "and gave us something far greater, hope. And a glimpse of a species the galaxy cannot ignore." Rella nodded. "Do you think they will remain peaceful?" Threx's green eyes glimmered. "They are patient. But if the galaxy challenges them, they will not hesitate." As hyperspace consumed the Ascendant, Threx reflected on the journey. He had come seeking repairs. He had found coffee, upgrades, and an alliance. But most importantly, he had witnessed a species that combined intellect, courage, and precision in a way that could alter the balance of power across the stars. Humans were not simply survivors. They were a force. The galaxy would soon learn whether ready or not. Back on Earth, Commander Ruiz sipped her coffee while reviewing fleet logs. She allowed herself a small smile. The galaxy might underestimate humans today, tomorrow, even the next cycle. But one thing was certain: humans would always be ready.